Hi, and welcome back to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants, the go-to podcast for holistic health seekers looking to harness the power of nature for health and healing. I'm Jen. I'm a passionate health educator, a whole food plant-based culinary coach, and a master herbalist. And I'm here with Dan, who is an exercise specialist and a wonderful master herbalist. Together, we dive into the world of natural healing. We bring you a wealth of knowledge and practical advice, and drawing from both traditional wisdom and modern science with herbs and foods to help you achieve optimal health. So today we're talking about a brand new discovery, something that Dan found in the research that gives us more reasons to eat more plants. It's another reason why vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains are so good for us. And of course, that's always our thing. Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants. We're all about the plants and the herbs and the foods. But researchers have found something that is fascinating. It's another reason why I'm always telling people to eat the food. We always prefer food over supplements because we will never know all of the wonderful things that foods do for us and our bodies. So anyway, Dan, do you want to tell us about this new study?
Yes, the study proves again what Dr. Christopher said, that nature is very complex, and no matter how good science becomes, they'll never understand everything. I mean, and that's a good thing. To me, it makes life more interesting. So,
Yes.
what they have discovered, and this is very new, and this is new research. What they have discovered is that plant protein, and look, we get plant protein, beans, things like that. They're calling it PRIF, P-R-I-F. It stands for digestion resistant protein, a newly identified class of plant proteins that resist human digestion and reach the colon to support gut health.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, you'll say, well, I'm eating a high fiber diet, so I thought that's all I needed to do for a healthy gut. And it is a good place to start, but now they're finding, like fiber, the PRIF passes through the small intestine without breaking down.
Hmm.
And it serves as a direct food source of bacteria, but it partners with fiber. While fiber stops bacteria from eating away at the protective gut mucus lining, the PRIV supplies the raw material needed to boost good microbial byproducts.
It's amazing.
So instead of feeding harmful bacteria, they encourage bacteria to make more beneficial metabolites. So it reminds me of what is it Dr. Oh my God. The guy that's got nutritionfacts.org.
Dr. Greger?
Yes, he used to talk about when we eat meat, the body produces, what was the chemical it produces in the gut? It's a chemical. It's not
TMAO?
mTOR, is it? Is it what?
A TMAO?
Yes. So they're showing that eating plant-based and eating plant, protein, your body, instead of forming chemicals that are bad for us or metabolites that are bad, that turn on cancer genes and things like that, it actually helps turn these things off.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
so it is amazing. I remember Gregor talked about some of the studies they did with, now these are in a test tube, but they would take a vegan's blood and an omnivore's blood and place cancer cells in the blood. And the vegan's blood would attack the cancer cells more than the person eating an omnivore diet. So
Yeah.
basically they're finding out why this is true. And it's not just one reason why. It's complicated.
Right.
Here's another reason.
Yeah, a whole nother reason to be eating your plants.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I love it. Yes. And so we're always thinking about fiber. And so just a little backstory. So I know when I studied nutrition back in the 90s, fiber was to bulk your stool and help you poop. And people take, lots of different supplements and things to help them have bowel movements because they're not eating enough fiber. But sometimes people eat too much fiber and aren't hydrated, or there's other things too. Thyroid disease can be related to that too. But fiber was really just excuse me, for poop. And then we started learning about the components in the fiber that help feed the microbiome. So people are just taking more fiber supplements. I just need to make sure I'm getting my fiber. So they're taking fiber supplements to help get their fiber, or they're looking at different ways to increase those different things to feed the fiber. But we never understood that it was actually the proteins in the plants also that are helping with the gut lining and the microbiome and all that too. It's fascinating. And so it's not, this is where we have to go. It's not just the one single ingredient. Like the same thing with, we say, what are we talking about? Any kind of component. If I'm looking at lobelia, so an herb like lobelia, which I love lobelia, has been banned for different reasons. I actually have it and use it. It's not banned right now, but it's been banned before and blah, blah, blah. Because when they extract the lobeoline in it, that can be highly toxic. But if you just take lobeline, the worst, I mean, lobelia, not the extracted, but the extract of lobelia, the worst you can get is throw up or have diarrhea because your body's going to let you, just get rid of it. It's not going to be toxic to you unless you call that toxic, which that can feel toxic sometimes. My point is, we don't understand the different things in the plants. And maybe that one thing can be beneficial for us, but it's much more than that. It's much more complex than that. Kind of like people take vitamin C instead of eating an orange. Well, some people do need more vitamin C under different health concerns and things like that. But what we don't understand is there's different parts of the orange beyond vitamin C that are so nutritious and so beneficial for our bodies. And so we have to stop thinking about supplements and extracts and what part of this food are good for us. We need to eat the whole food. So that's another reason why we don't want to have processed foods. We need to eat the whole food.
Yes, it's a symphony. It is a symphony. It's not just one player. That's why
Uh-huh.
and the pharmaceutical industry, they're the ones that first started to isolate chemicals out of herbs. And I
Right,
don't think they realized at the time that that would be bad. That's why you get side effects because you get too much concentration of one chemical without the other ones. I mean, think about it. They all work together. I mean, I'm not afraid of any herb. I don't care what
right,
they say about comfrey or lobelia. If you eat it as a whole food,
right.
it's not going to hurt you. And that's what they found in the study. It
Hmm.
even said, you don't need to eat anything isolated to get the results of the study. You simply want to eat whole plant foods.
Yeah,
And what's easier than and supplements are expensive. I mean, food's expensive, supplements are expensive. So, hey, why don't we just eat the food?
eat
Now,
the
I
food.
believe in herbs, but I'm talking things like some of these fancy supplements that are on the market. They have so many things now. Like, well, the Brian Johnson guy, I mean, he's showing you he's a guy that's trying to increase his lifespan, but he's taking all these supplements
Hmm.
and all these medications, and then he's got an autoimmune disease because you don't find health in a bottle. You find true health. You find it being out in the sun and nature, eating your plant foods, exercising, letting go of your stress, meditating, finding love in your heart, finding forgiveness in your heart. That's real health. Not, all these experiments and, it's just not. Some of the healthiest people right now, they probably live in some isolated village somewhere. They don't even think about any of these things, and they're probably 90 years old, and their blood work looks like they're 40. Okay?
Right, right.
It's not complicated. Like the social media and the media tries to make you believe that good health is so complicated. It's not.
We make it too complicated. That
Yeah.
makes me think of, I can't tell you how many clients tell me curcumin saves their life, that they just love curcumin, that they have to take curcumin. And all I think is, why not the turmeric? Why is it the curcumin? But that's a whole nother story. Before we go any further, I did not give our medical disclaimer. The information shared in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any illness. The research discussed in this episode is intended to increase your understanding of how your diet may influence your health and should not be interpreted as individual advice. Work with your own healthcare provider when you're considering changing your diet, supplements, etc. Yes. So we'll get back to this. So when we talk about eating plants, plants contain fiber, vitamins, minerals. I'm always talking about different phytochemicals, all the different colors we want in there, and proteins. And all plants contain proteins. Even potatoes have a little bit of protein. All plants contain proteins. And now we know that some of those plant proteins aren't digested by us. They travel into the colon, and the gut microbes feast on those, just like some of the fibers. And so I just think that's truly amazing.
It is amazing. And like I'm telling you, I believe our species specific diet is plant-based. And I know a lot of people argue with me, but the reason I believe this is because people that eat more plants tend to get healthier. They tend to become healthier. And if you look at the real research of our ancestors, they try to tell you that they ate meat 3 times a day. It makes me laugh because obviously these people have never been hunting before.
Yes,
They're
exactly.
showing now that our ancestors lived off of plant foods like tubers and berries and things like that. And yeah, occasionally they had wild game, but if it wasn't for vegetation, they would have died because it is not easy to
Right.
kill a animal every day, especially
Right.
when you have spears and God knows what, you know?
Yes. Well, and then they're just saying if we ate meat 3 times a day every day, that would mean that we were better hunters than a tiger, a lion and a tiger, and I don't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
and I'm even getting, I guess I want to help as many people as I can. So now I tell people, and we were talking about this earlier, just increase your intake of fruits and vegetables. Just do that.
Yes. Yes. And
Increase that.
I like the challenge of eating 30 different plants in a week.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and so because that's easy,
Mhm.
well, easy for me, but well, see how many plants you're eating in a week anyway. Like if every day you have lettuce, tomato, and cucumber, and then maybe you have green beans one day and I don't know, a sweet potato one day, maybe you're only getting 10 different fruits and vegetables in a week. And so increase that to 15 next week, and then increase that to 20 the next week. And, excuse me, slowly work your way up if that's where you are. But I love that. And then I love something that I tell my clients is to rotate too. If I always buy romaine, well, then this week maybe I need to buy a spring mix instead, or, a different type of lettuce this week. And so swapping them out, if every week I buy chickpeas, well, maybe I'll buy some black beans this week, or a can of pinto beans, or I'll cook some dried pinto beans or something like that. And then for those of you who are new to me, I have two rules. I've always had two rules. Number one is always read the ingredients. That's not part of this topic today because we're talking about real whole foods. Number two is always eat the rainbow. And so when you are in the grocery store, look in your shopping cart and see if you even have all the colors in your cart. And remembering, like if you eat rice, yes, that's a plant. You can get different colored rice. You can get black rice. There's a beautiful black rice. You can get a wild rice that has different colors in it. You can get different colored beans, red beans, black beans, green lentils. And so looking in your shopping cart and seeing, do I have all the colors in here? Am I going to be able to eat the different colors each day? And so that's another good way to start to adding in more plants. And so even if we're not going to tell you you have to be vegan, though we both are 100% whole food plant-based, if you just start where you are and increase your plants, because just there's going to be more and more and more studies that come out about how beneficial it is to eat plants. And it's not just about that one thing inside the plant. Like today, we're talking about this one thing. It's the whole plant. We need all of the nutrients that come packaged in that whole plant, or minimally processed. Like applesauce is processed apples, but you can make your own, chop it, cook it on the stove top with a little bit of water. and that's applesauce. And so that is still a processed food, but that is minimally processed. So eating the apple or eating the applesauce like that because you tolerate it better, that's okay. We're not saying you have to eat the apple if you can't tolerate eating the apple. Minimally processing it, you chopping, cooking also counts. You still get lots of benefits that way.
And have fun with it. If you've never tried a certain fruit,
Yes.
go to the supermarket, look around, like, hey, I've never tried this once. Why don't we try this week? It can be fun and get recipes. There's so many good plant-based recipes now. Oh,
Yes,
I
we
can
we got
think about some of them.
we got so much more creative when we went whole food plant-based.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like we went from just eating the standard, 5 or 6 recipes in a week to now we never eat the same thing more than
Yeah.
once. It's just constantly rotating different foods and making different things. And not that it has to be complicated. Like our go-to is a sheet pan meal. Chop it, throw it in a pan, throw it in the oven.
Oh
That's it.
yeah.
That's all you have to do. And I'll make a sauce or a dressing or something to go with it. But that's all you have to do. Last night was absolutely delicious, and all it was chopped, thrown in a pan, stuck it in the oven. And so it doesn't have to be complicated. You can just switch out those different plants that are in that you're chopping and you have a whole different meal. But we have to talk about the herbs too. So when we say eat 30 different plants in a week, herbs are also plants. And so how are you spicing up your foods? And can you incorporate spices and herbs that are medicinal into your foods? And absolutely, there's an herbalist, Cami McBride, that she teaches people, how to more easily use different medicinals in your foods. But even foods like all of our culinary herbs, they're going to count. They're going to be high in different phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, fiber. They even contain protein because all of our leafy greens contain protein. And they also contain this new uh, prif, right? And one of our most mineral rich herbs is nettle. That's the one I wrote my thesis on. I've talked about it a lot, but it's very, very, very high in minerals, but also very high in protein. But you're only eating this much. Do we really count that as our protein source? Our body is. We don't count it in grams, but that's still going to be feeding our microbiome, helping to protect and repair our intestinal lining. And then because nettles is one of the highest in minerals of all of our plants, think about all those minerals that our body needs too to help with that repair of our intestines.
And you're talking about adding medicinal herbs to our food. Well, I'm a big fan of garlic. Garlic goes good with a lot of these foods.
Yes.
Turmeric, like you're talking about turmeric.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So India, they use turmeric in pretty much all their meals, and they have a lower rate of dementia, and they've linked it to the turmeric.
Yes. So use the
Not
whole turmeric.
curcumin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use the whole food.
Hmm.
Yes. Whenever I think of
Of
turmeric, I
course.
also think of ginger. I always put them together.
Yeah. They actually, when I make a tincture for inflammation,
Hmm.
I combine turmeric with ginger. I think they just go together. It's like a perfect
Yes.
marriage.
Perfect with a little cayenne.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there you go.
That makes
It's
it
a
really
perfect
good.
anti-inflammatory combination right there.
Oh
Turmeric,
yeah.
ginger, cayenne. Perfect.
Powerful. You take that, it's really going to help boost your health. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, yes. And if you're afraid of cayenne, first of all, look it up. So Dr. Schultz, who we both learned from, if you don't know, if you haven't listened to us before, Dan and I met at the School of Natural Healing, which was Dr. John Christopher's um, program. He started it, and now his son David Christopher runs it. But Dr. Christopher, you can buy their herbal products, things like that. We don't sell them, but we highly recommend them because we were there and we watched where they made them and saw how powerful these herbs are. I forgot where I was going. So Dr. Schultz taught a lot of the classes and we were hoping he would be there. He wasn't there. But Dr. Schultz's name is Dr. Cayenne because he recommended cayenne for pretty much everything. And he told us about all the different ways that cayenne can help us from regulating blood pressure to closing up wounds to being so highly anti-inflammatory. There's so many different ways that you can use cayenne for your health.
I totally agree with Schultz on cayenne pepper. It's the master herb,
Mhm.
and I believe, and he did too, but it's always been intuitive to me that if you want to be healthy, you have to have good circulation. If you don't have good circulation, you're not going to be healthy. Cayenne pepper will correct your circulation problems. And also, you really need to combine that with a good, healthy diet that is rich in plants,
Yes.
you know,
Yes,
and of course, exercise.
adding cayenne to your steak and eggs 3 times a day isn't gonna
Yeah,
do much
or your
for you.
Big Mac, right?
Yeah.
But hey, I've eaten that too. I used to eat that
Yeah, I've
too.
been there, done that. Yeah, I could probably
So
eat 2 Big Macs back in the day.
yeah, if I can change, you can change. Let's
Yes.
say that. I was a
Yes.
junk food head.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
In high school, my lunch every single day was Reese's peanut butter cups and Dr. Pepper. That was my lunch. Yes. So Dan and we did not grow up eating this way. As a matter of fact, I
Oh
didn't
no.
switch until I was 44. When I was 44 is when I started eating 100% whole food plant-based. And so I had 44 years of uh, reversal to do, right? To perfect my health. Um, right. And so I did for, maybe 15 years prior, I made changes. You don't know until you know. And so,
Mhm.
back in the 90s, I learned about health and I made a lot of changes there. And we did eat more whole foods than we did prior, but we still, on the weekends, it was, going out to eat. We would get McDonald's or Krispy Kreme every Sunday morning. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, probably up until I was in my 40s, right? My oldest child, that's how he grew up. My second child, she grew up whole food plant-based. So they don't eat the same. They still don't eat the same. My oldest one has made lots and lots of changes. He does cook his own foods and does eat mostly whole food plant-based, but nothing like my younger one.
Yeah, so I just want to say that because we're not making fun of anybody because
No.
I help people wherever they're at. I have
Yes.
clients that are still in the early phases of trying to improve. My point is, I used to eat whatever I wanted. Sonic, Papa John's, Dairy Queen. And look, I didn't know this. I mean, I was already an exercise scientist, but they didn't teach us the diet that actually helps you, you know?
Right. Right. Well, the same with me. Yeah. And even though, so I got my master's in the 90s, I still studied nutrition every single year. I did continuing education and every single year. So nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. But I was still back in the 5 a day. And, so as long as we were getting our 5 fruits and vegetables a day, it was okay to eat those other things. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that how inflammatory those other things were. And that 5 a day, that will keep you alive, but that does not keep you healthy.
Yeah, I told you we were doing one podcast. They were showing people that even plant-based eaters, they were still eating some processed food.
Yeah.
The processed food was canceling out the benefits of the plant-based diet. That is crazy, but that's how these foods that are engineered by humans are not healthy for us. The only ones that are healthy are the ones that grow in the ground or grow on a tree.
Yes. Yes. So let's get back to some more of the very beneficial herbs. So we talked about ginger, turmeric. You mentioned garlic, nettle. Some that we talked about on, especially for circulation, rosemary. Rosemary
Yeah.
is another wonderful that you can easily add to roasted vegetables or salad dressings. Anything that you have kind of Italian, make a zucchini lasagna with a cashew ricotta or a tofu ricotta using lots of rosemary and oregano and basil. Those are very, very antioxidant, very anti-inflammatory, but they're also high in vitamins, minerals, and they have fiber and protein. And so it's another way to help feed your microbiome.
Yeah, because it's funny that now we have to tell people to use these herbs in cooking, but years ago, people just intuitively did this. They always added medicinal herbs to their food because
Yeah.
they were still more in tune with the land. They were more in tune with things. Now
Yeah.
we got all these commercials telling us to eat all this crap, you know?
Yes. Well, I was just thinking about that. So here I talked about nettles, and we only use a little bit. In most
Yeah,
countries around the world, nettles is a vegetable.
yeah,
Here we use it as an herb and we hardly ever hear about it. Now, don't eat stinging nettle raw. It does sting. It has the same chemicals in it, like the toxin in an ant bite. And so you do want to, when you cook it or heat it, that destroys that chemical or makes it inactive for you. And so make sure you at least parboil it or um, steam it or saute it or something like that if you do decide to cook your nettles. And then there are other nettles that are not stinging nettles that are also extremely high in minerals and also contain those other nutrients. And so I did want to add that.
Yeah, you were talking about that too. Even the burdock root we use as a herb, but other countries eat as a vegetable.
Yes, and talk
That's
about
a really
that. What a
powerful
great
one.
herb. Yes.
Oh yeah. Blood cleanser. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I add that to I buy it. We used to grow it. We haven't grown it in a while. It's kind of difficult to grow. It looks kind of like a brownish carrot, but it can get, pretty wide, like a daikon radish, but really, really long. And so we have clay where we live. It's really hard clay. So we would have to build up to grow them. But we did grow them for a while. But you can buy them dried. And so buy some burdock dried. Maybe you can buy it at an international market. It doesn't have a lot of flavor, but in a lot of countries they will saute it, stir fry it, things like that. What I do is I just grab a handful. And my hands are kind of small, but I just grab a handful and throw it in whenever I'm cooking beans or a soup or a stew or making a broth or something like that, because it is a wonderful, wonderful blood cleanser, wonderful for the liver, extremely high in minerals, but then it also contains the protein and the fiber and the things that help with our microbiome.
And so, I mean, if you're not used to cooking, I challenge you. This is exciting. Plant-based, using these herbs to flavor the food. I think if you never tried this before, you would be amazed. Like you were saying earlier, just a sheet pan. That's
Yes.
some of my best meals. You put vegetables, a variety of vegetables, put
Mhm.
spices on there, make a dressing. My God, it is delicious. You won't believe how good this is. You never tried it. You really won't.
That's what we do pretty much 5 nights a week, probably.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
so good.
When in
Easy.
doubt, chop it up, throw it on a pan, throw it in the oven. Uh,
Yes.
don't know what to do with it? Chop it up, throw it on a pan, throw it in the oven. Dr. Tom O'Brien used to say that. Now I use parchment paper. I don't use any oil because the oil can become inflammatory when we cook it. So some people don't like that. If you make sure you use a high quality oil that can tolerate very high heat. If you do decide to use oils, I don't use any oils, but I just put parchment paper on a pan, chop it up, throw the veggies on the pan, turn the oven, preheat it at 375, and then cook how long? Till it's done. That's how I learned in cooking school. They just said cook it until it's done. If you can stick a fork through it and it's nice and tender, then it's done. Usually that's like 20, 25 minutes for most things. It also depends on what size you chop as well. But that's so easy. And we do it all the time. And so we just alternate the vegetables, alternate what spices or herbs we use, and alternate the beans because we have beans or tofu every night. And so we just change up the flavor.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to start. And once you've done this for a while, it's probably the way you're going to be cooking anyway most of the time because it's easy. It's easier to get more variety that way.
hmm Yeah. So I love that you said challenging people. So maybe that could be the thing. Well, we're actually going to miss a week, or maybe we just missed a week by the time you hear this recording. I will be out. But between now and the next time you hear from us, we challenge you to add some more spices. Just start playing with the herbs in your cabinet. Don't let them sit there and go bad. Let's use them up. They are only good for 6 months to a year anyway. If you can't smell and taste them, it's time to replace them. But we just challenge you, add a new fruit or vegetable and a new herb into one of your meals. If you haven't been using them, start using your herbs. That's a great way to start.
It is. And before you know it, you're going to start to like it. You're definitely going to like the way you feel. You'll start to feel better. And that's why I
Yes.
find with people, if they start to give this a try, they're thinking, man, I feel healthier. I have more energy. And then it becomes more of an addiction. I mean, because if you feel good, you don't want to stop feeling good.
Right. Right. Yes.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, so the research has not changed our recommendation of using plants all day long, whole food, plant-based, minimally processed. Eat a wide variety of colorful plant foods. I am always saying eat the rainbow vegetables, herbs, spices, fruits, beans, nuts, seeds, all the different whole plant foods. Every meal is your chance to feed your cells, your body, and your microbes. And so we want you to continue eating your plants. Thank you for joining us today on Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants. If you'd like to find out more about Dan, go to danthenaturalman.com. To find out more about me, you can go to Holistic Jen. That starts with a W. I spell holistic with a W. Holisticjen.com. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's curious about the healing power of plants. Until next time, remember, true healing begins with the simple gifts nature has provided for us. All these things outside, whole foods, healing herbs, but also moving your body, sleeping, other healthy habits, forgiveness, and love, like Dan mentioned before. Stay well, and we'll see you again on our next episode.